streets can be so much more than just conveyances for cars, right? Our streets are basically like the front yards for people in cities, and yet we've kind of forgotten that. And so really what we're starting to see is cities and mayors looking to improve the quality of life in their neighborhoods and their business districts by carving out space for people on foot and people on bike and people on transit. And when you have a lively street that's filled with people, you know, those kinds of sidewalk contacts are really the small change that really builds the social wealth of a city. And that kind of Jane Jacobs approach is really transforming cities around the world now, from cities like São Paulo to what you're seeing happening in Rio, what you're seeing happening in Rome and Athens and Oakland and Chicago. It's become a new operating code for cities around the world. The DNA is changing from a car-based DNA to a people-based DNA. Try things out. That's what we did in New York. You know, 99% of our budget for all of our work was fixing our roads and bridges. Only 1% of the work of all of the changes, the bus lanes, the bike lanes, the plazas, all of that was done with just 1% of our money. And so you can move quickly to literally paint the city you want to see. Show what's possible. Try things out. Measure what works. Measure the impact of the projects. And if it doesn't work, you can always put it back to the way it was before, right? You know, it's the trying that's important. And nobody can argue that our streets have to be the same way forever and ever. You know, our cities have changed, the population's changed, technology, culture, everything's changed in our cities, and yet our streets haven't changed. So updating our streets is a really key way to improve the function, operation, safety, livability of cities. It doesn't take millions and it doesn't take decades. You can literally make these changes overnight. And it's changing the use of the space that's key. And once you adapt the space, people adopt it. Data is key. Data is key. I worked for a data-driven mayor and Michael Bloomberg. As he used to say, trust in God, everyone else bring data. And so we brought lots and lots of data and we measured everything. And we measured the impact on safety, we measured on mobility, on businesses, and also on traffic. And what we found at the end of the day was that these projects, better streets, were better for business. And if you don't do the data collection, it's much harder to make the case, because people will say, oh, it was worse for business, oh, traffic got worse, but you don't have any way to come back against that. So when you've got that data and you can say, no, here are the results. It was better for business, it was better for the economy, it was better for safety, it was better for sustainability, then you've got, you know, an analysis that gets you just beyond the he said, she said approach to projects. It's really critical for making the case for these projects and then having them expand over time. Well, I think the work that particularly Bloomberg Philanthropies and the Global Road Safety Initiative that's going on, and the work of WRI as well, is about sharing what works in different kinds of cities. You know, we all don't have to reinvent the wheel. So many of us face the same challenges, and so we can actually learn from one another what works and what doesn't, and apply those lessons on the streets of our city and make the kinds of changes that we need to see happen quickly, happen effectively, and affordably. And that's, I think, one of the most exciting moments that we're seeing. You know, cities are the future of the planet, and if we can make these cities work better, we're in a great position to change the world.